What's going on, internet? Jesus loves you. My name's Cody, and this is the Christian News Show we do on Tuesdays and Thursdays with GeeksUnderGrace.com. And before we get into the show, I do want to thank everybody who is a Patreon for Geeks Under Grace. All of you who donate, just know that it means the world to me. And those of you who do not donate yet, just know that you could do so at patreon.com/GeeksUnderGrace. And if you just donate like $1 a month, you can get one of these window decals. They are pretty cool. They don't have to go on your window, but they are quality stickers. But let's get into the news. Our first story of the day is about Pastor Carl Lentz. He recently had an interview with Oprah Winfrey, and he did have a lot of good things to say. But what's making headlines is when Oprah asked him, "Do you need to be a Christian to have a relationship with God?" he replied, "No." I feel like I'm always defending people, but I legitimately don't think that he meant it the way that he said it. I did listen to the whole interview. I was very hopeful that maybe it was just taken completely out of context. And so a lot of people are saying that Carl Lentz believes that you can be saved while not being a Christian. I do not think that's what he's saying. It will be really nice if this headline gets blown up enough that he does need to publicly clarify what he was trying to say. But when Oprah asked him this question, he says, "No, I don't think that you need to be a Christian to have a relationship with God because God is moving in all people." Continuing to say that even if you are not a Christian, God is going to be putting up big red lights to tell you to turn right when you want to turn left. He also later in the interview says Jesus is the only way. That said, if you watch the interview, Oprah asks the questions in a very specific way, and she has said before on public television that she is kind of a universalist. Next up is a study from a group called Barna. Basically what it says is that 66% of Americans believe that God heals people supernaturally. Something else that I found interesting but not at all surprising is that elderly are more likely to strongly agree or somewhat agree, and millennials not so much. Something that's also interesting is that only 19% of Catholics strongly agree, and with Protestants, it's 55%. Personally, I believe in divine intervention, but I do think it is very dangerous to expect it. I cringe anytime I hear somebody say, well, God's gonna make it work. Because then you're expecting a certain thing to happen, and what if it doesn't? I mean, there are so many people that will say, God's got this, and then it doesn't happen the way that you want it, or maybe even at all the way that you wanted, and you say, how could God let this happen? It's a sad reality, but getting things done exactly the way that you wanted them to happen just isn't how the world works. Like, life is probably going to suck, but that's why you lean on God to get you through it. And then the final story of the day is some awesome news coming out of Washington State. There was a sting operation conducted that was against human trafficking. 72 women, some of them minors, have been freed from sex trafficking. The sting was called Operation Cross Country X, and agents actually went undercover to make contact with the trafficked women and then freed them. Also, 239 sex traffickers were caught, and they will now hopefully live in a jail cell for as long as possible. And for anyone who's watched the show for a while knows that anytime I talk about human trafficking, I like to bring up love146.org. They fight trafficking here in the United States. Very powerful, very strong nonprofit. If you want to donate to them, please do so. I mean, they are the heroes. Question of the day. I feel like I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Do you believe that God has divine intervention still? Do you think that he supernaturally heals people? Please leave a comment in the comment section down below with your answer. Also, make sure you check out GeeksUnderGrace.com for more geeky content. My name is Cody, Armour, bringing you Christian news in a not so boring kind of way every Tuesday and Thursday. In closing, let the haters hate, let the Christians pray, and to everybody like subscribe. I will see you later, and God bless.